Caitlin Clark, Nike's signature logo has been released along with a...
It's finally here. The Caitlin Clark logo. I just realized I haven't even put on my light.
Nike has finally unleashed Caitlin Clark's first ever signature CC logo, and within minutes the internet went into a frenzy. Fans split down the middle, with some praising it as bold, clean, and timeless, while others immediately slammed it as too safe, too simple, and nowhere near the revolutionary energy that Caitlin herself brings to the court. And that's what makes this moment so powerful. Because this isn't just a logo, it's the very first stamp of identity that will define Caitlin Clark's brand for years to come, a brand that already shattered records at Iowa, sent WNBA ticket sales skyrocketing, and forced mainstream media to finally pay attention to women's basketball. Nike says those two interlocking C's represent her passion, her drive, and her connection with fans. But many are asking if this design truly matches the hype surrounding the most watched player in the game today, or if it's proof that Nike is playing it safe, cashing in on her fame without daring to create something unforgettable. And as fans argue over whether this logo is a slam dunk or a complete airball, one thing is clear. Caitlin Clark is once again at the center of a debate that could change the direction of the WNBA forever. To understand why this logo reveal is so massive, you have to look back at what Caitlin Clark has already accomplished. She isn't just another rising star. She is the player who shattered the all-time NCAA scoring record, who drew record-breaking television audiences for women's basketball, and who turned every single game into a sellout spectacle. The moment she declared for the WNBA, ticket prices spiked, jerseys sold out, and the Indiana Fever transformed overnight into one of the league's most valuable franchises. That's the Caitlin effect. And Nike knew they couldn't afford to let a generational talent like her slip away. That's why earlier this year, they locked her into an 8-year deal worth $28 million, a contract that puts her in the same conversation as the biggest names in sports. And now, with the debut of the CC logo, Nike isn't just selling apparel, they're betting that Caitlin Clark will become the face of women's basketball worldwide. But that's where the real question comes in. Does the logo truly capture the magnitude of her rise, or is it already falling short of the legend she's building in real time? So what exactly did Nike unveil? The long-awaited CC logo is built around two bold, interlocking C's, simple at first glance, but designed to carry deeper meaning. The sharp curves symbolize connection, power, and the endless loop of her impact on and off the court, while a smaller, hidden inner C is meant to represent her inner drive, the fire that pushed her to rewrite basketball history before even stepping into the WNBA. Nike's design team framed it as elegant and timeless, something that could sit alongside the swoosh and instantly feel recognizable around the world. For Caitlin, this wasn't just a logo thrown together, it was months of collaboration, meetings, and revisions to get it exactly right, with her insisting that it reflect both her game and her personality. But as sleek as it looks on paper, the real test comes now, because fans are already debating if this design is strong enough to stand as the next iconic sports mark, or if it's too safe, too clean, and destined to fade into the background. Nike didn't just drop the logo and walk away. They rolled it out with powerful language designed to cement Caitlin Clark as more than just an athlete. In their official statement, Nike called her one of the most watched, most impactful, and most passionate players in the game today. A deliberate move to frame her not just as a WNBA rookie, but as a cultural force. For Caitlin, the moment was deeply personal. She described the unveiling as a dream come true, stressing that it wasn't simply about seeing her initials on a shirt, but about having a mark that tells her story. She explained how she worked closely with Nike designers, rejecting early drafts and pushing for a logo that reflected her grit, her style, and her bond with fans. To her, these two C's aren't just letters, they're a symbol of everything she's built, from the playgrounds of Iowa to the sold-out arenas of the WNBA. But while Caitlin and Nike are speaking with confidence, the real conversation isn't happening in press releases, it's unfolding among the fans. And their reactions tell a much more complicated story. The moment the logo hit social media, the debate lit up instantly. Some fans were quick to praise it, calling it sharp, elegant, and easy to recognize, exactly the kind of clean design that can last for decades. Others, though, were far less impressed, blasting it as generic, boring, and lacking the kind of edge that Caitlyn herself brings every time she steps on the court. On Twitter, Instagram, and even fan forums, the arguments kept escalating. One side framing it as a timeless brand, the other claiming Nike played it too safe and wasted an opportunity to create something truly iconic. And layered on top of that, rumors started spreading that Nike deliberately kept the design minimal so it could be stamped on everything from sneakers to hoodies without clashing, a strategic business move rather than a bold, creative one. Whether you see it as brilliant or basic, one thing is undeniable. The logo has already done its job by keeping Caitlyn Clark in the center of the conversation, and that's exactly where Nike wants her to be. But this debate only gets louder once you look at how the rollout is actually planned. Nike knew this logo couldn't just appear and disappear. They built a rollout designed to stretch the conversation for months. The first wave comes the 1st of September, when t-shirts bearing the CC mark officially drop, giving fans an entry point to rep Caitlyn's brand at an affordable price. Then, the 1st of October, the second wave hits hoodies, joggers, shorts, and full lifestyle gear, all stamped with the new design, turning it into a streetwear identity as much as a basketball one. But the biggest play is still on hold. The signature sneakers, the true crown jewel of this partnership, won't arrive until 2026. That gap has already raised eyebrows, with some fans frustrated at the delay and others seeing it as a power move to build hype and demand. By staggering each release, Nike ensures Caitlyn Clark stays in headlines all season long, keeping her logo fresh in everyone's mind. But the timeline also fuels another question. Will this careful strategy elevate her brand to legendary status? Or does dragging it out risk losing the momentum she's already built? What makes this logo bigger than just branding is the ripple effect Caitlyn Clark has already created across the entire sport. The so-called Caitlyn effect isn't just a headline, it's measurable. Since her arrival, WNBA attendance has surged. Indiana Fever ticket prices have jumped to record highs, and national broadcasts featuring her games have pulled in audiences the league has never seen before. Merchandise sales exploded the moment her jersey hit shelves, with some outlets reporting it outsold veteran stars within hours. And now Nike is positioning her not only as the future of women's basketball, but as a global ambassador capable of carrying the game into new markets. This CC mark isn't simply a logo, it's Nike's bet on the rise of an entire movement, one that ties athletic performance, culture, and commerce together. But as powerful as that vision sounds, the pressure that comes with it is just as heavy, because now the question isn't just whether Caitlyn Clark can play, it's whether she can carry the expectations of being the face of a league, a brand, and a new generation of fans all at once. When a player gets a signature logo, comparisons are inevitable. LeBron's crown, Kobe's sheath, Jordan's Jumpman, these aren't just designs. They became global icons that outlived their players' careers. Now Caitlyn Clark is stepping onto that same stage, and the expectations are sky high. Some analysts are already saying the CC logo has the potential to reach that status, while others warn that anything less than excellence could reduce it to a forgettable footnote. That's the pressure Caitlyn faces. She isn't just competing on the hardwood, she's competing against decades of branding history, and the weight of those comparisons could either push her into legend status or expose Nike for playing it safe. But here's the bigger question: what happens if Caitlyn's logo isn't just about her? What if it becomes the turning point that shows companies the value of investing in women's sports on the same scale as men's? Already, her influence has forced networks, sponsors, and rival brands to pay closer attention to the WNBA than ever before. If her CC logo becomes a household symbol, it could open the door for future stars to get the same treatment, breaking barriers that held women's basketball back for decades. That means this isn't just a design launch, it's a cultural experiment, testing whether the momentum Caitlyn built can truly reshape how the world views the women's game. And whether fans love or hate the logo, they're all part of the story being written right now. So, was this logo reveal a slam dunk or a missed shot? Maybe it's both. On the surface, the CC logo is clean, simple, and safe. But beneath it lies the story of a player who has already redefined what's possible for women's basketball. Caitlin Clark has the eyes of the world on her, and Nike is betting that this mark will grow into an icon alongside her career. Some will argue it lacks the flair to reach that level. Others will say its simplicity is what gives it staying power. But here's the truth: no matter where you land, the debate itself proves Caitlin's impact. She's no longer just a player making history, she's a brand shaping the future. And whether this logo ends up legendary or forgotten, Caitlin Clark has already changed the game forever.